Welcome to Sober and Lit,
the podcast for women who want to get sober, stay sober, and live a life that's way more lit than it ever was with wine.
We're your hosts, Ruby and Susan, two alcohol freedom coaches keeping it real with stories, tools, and zero judgment.
Whether you're sober curious or all in, you're in the right place.
Let's feel lit, alcohol free.
Welcome back to the Sober and Lit podcast. We're so glad you're here. Hi, I'm Susan Larkin. I'm here with Ruby Williams and our special guest, Abby Calabrese. She is a creator of the Alcohol-Free Rebellion, a podcast and platform inspiring women to rethink their relationship with alcohol and build a vibrant, empowered lives without it, which we love. That's what we're all about. And Abby has been sober since 2023, and she blends her background in corporate sales with her passion for storytelling, pop culture, and wellness to make sobriety feel aspirational, fun, and accessible. With a growing community of over 21K followers, yes, I follow you, and you are cool and fun. She is redefining what it means to live alcohol-free, proving it's not about giving something up, but about getting your whole life back. And you can connect with her on Instagram at alcoholfreeabby, which she does really great, fun posts. So welcome, Abby. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. Yeah. It's so crazy hearing your own bio back. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
it's so great.
I'm so cool. Me. I'm cool. Yeah. Well, I started following you on Instagram and you make the funniest fun posts. I have an Instagram account and I try, but man, I feel like a fish out of water. I am not.
I do too, to be honest. Like there's some days where I'm like, wait, what am I even doing? Or I'll post something and be like, me a couple years ago, never. Like I was the person that was like, well, let me see the photo before you upload it because I need to make sure it's my good side and blah, 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 blah. And now I'm like, I can't even believe what I'm sharing on social media.
I know, me too. Me too. Well, also like I didn't have before and after pictures. Yeah. I didn't have a lot of drinking pictures because I just wasn't in this mode of like everyone is now taking pictures of yourself like 24/7, but I'm older than you, so.
No, but even same. I remember one day going to my husband, I'm like, do you have any pictures of me just looking terrible when I was drinking? He's like, is this a test? I don't know. What kind of question is this? I'm like, never mind.
No, this isn't, do I look fat in this, right? You know?
He's like, I don't know how to answer this question.
Yeah. I totally get that. Well, so we always like to begin with our guests telling us a little bit about your sobriety story. You know, what was your drinking like and what led you to get sober or to choose an alcohol-free lifestyle?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, my drinking story was very similar to a lot of people's, I think. Like, really started in college and partying and, you know, it's just all fun. It really was just like a good time and doing nothing that anybody else wasn't doing. Do you know what I mean? It was just like fitting in and partying, all that good stuff. Continued on. I moved to New York City. I'm in this like vibrant city. You go out a ton. I mean, you can't have anybody over because my apartment was like the size of a postage stamp, you know? So I treated the bar like my living room. So it was just like, meet me here, meet me there. And even going to the gym and then going to the bar. It was just part of the lifestyle, you know? And so it was a lot of drinking though. And I was in software. So I was in like financial software basically. So working with all the big financial banks and institutions, but on the vendor side. So a lot of sales dinners and going out. And there was like a little bit of pride I had at being able to like hang and drink with the guys. I was always, I feel like, surrounded by men in these situations, so I could like hold my own. And it really wasn't like this big looming thing that I was hiding or anything like that. It would cross my mind though, like after a big weekend, we'd be like out in the Hamptons or doing something like that. And I'm like, man, how am I going to keep doing this? Like I started to really feel it, you know, like going back to work on Monday, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I feel terrible. But again, everybody else did. We were all on the same line, getting the bagel and iced coffee and just trying to get through the day, you know? So I kept having these little things in my mind. I'm like, well, once we move out of the city, or once I get married, or once I have my first kid, or once, you know, all these different things that I just assumed I'd be like, then I'll see my off ramp. You know what I mean? Like, and I had seen other people. I'm like, oh, see, like that girl, she got her off ramp. She had the baby. We never see her anymore. She never comes out to the bars. That was not me. I just continued to find ways to fit drinking in. You know, I would just be really miserably hungover, but be a parent, or, you know, still get through all the things. But it was just taking a toll on how I was feeling physically, mentally, everything. And it just got to the point where it's like your hangovers start to get so bad. They start to last for 2, 3, 4 days. It started to become this mental anxiety spiral. And I started questioning. I mean, it just got really like mental, physical, and COVID also didn't no help to the situation, because almost all of my drinking was social until COVID. And then it started to be, oh, we're hunkered down. Let's have drinks. Let's go stock up on alcohol. And that way we have what we need and we're at home. And it just changed the dynamic of the drinking for me, from this social fun thing to now I'm at home drinking and waking up hungover, but I didn't even do anything. It just started to feel icky. Also grew up with a parent that drank way too much, and I knew what that felt like. And just kind of reassessing. It just got to a point where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this to my kids. It just was not fitting anymore. And there was no big rock bottom. There was no big event that happened. I just simply was like, I'm interested in this, and started listening to podcasts. And it was the first time I had really heard other people talking in the way that I was talking, how I felt about alcohol, because it's not talked about a lot. I wanted to talk about it since day one, basically. Like every time we'd go to brunch after a night out, I'm like, can we recap everything and talk about how we're feeling? And everyone's like, no, we're not doing that. Sounds awful. So the podcast, I feel like people were finally having these conversations that I wanted to have, where I'm like, yes, I felt like that. Yes, that's exactly. And it's like, I didn't see where I fit in this until I started hearing other women's stories, really. And so I listened and I drank still, and I listened and I drank. You know what I mean? Like, I always used to joke, Suzanne from the Sober Mom Life, I always like laugh with her because I know her now. And I'm like, I would listen to your podcast and then I'd put it away for the weekend and I would still drink and do all this stuff. And then I'd open it back up on Monday and keep listening to all the stories. But eventually just came to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to just try 100 days. Like I'd heard about people doing these 100-day challenges. I'm just going to give it a shot, and let's just like see how it goes. And I want to, you know, stick to it. In the back of my mind, I was like, maybe this will just stick and this will be who I am now, but I'm going to give it 100 days. And so I started on that journey. I really had no idea where it was going to go. I ran the New York City Marathon like 10 years ago. I treated it like that. I was like, okay, day one, training. Like, what am I going to do? Where are my like replacement drinks? Like, how am I going to do this? And I really had this mindset, like, I just need to get to 100 days. Very similar to when I ran the marathon. Like, just need to get to that end point and get to the point where I'm ready to run this race. And that's really where it started. And I just, you know, through that time and through removing the alcohol, really uncovered a lot of the reasons why I was drinking. Like you know, a lot of it was social and all this stuff, but there were reasons under there of why I was doing that and why I continued in this path and why it was hard to get out of it. Right. So it started to, you know, after I got the alcohol removed in my body, I didn't even realize how much like it was going to impact me removing alcohol. Like I was exhausted, I was irritable, I had all of these symptoms that I did not think I was going to have. So that was eye-opening in itself. But it also started to uncover like, what do I think is fun? Like I had never even thought about that. Like it didn't even occur to me. What are my hobbies? What are my passions? What do I want to be doing? Like all these questions I had never, ever asked myself. All I did was work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. Parents, mom, Like I just feel like I was just doing everything, but almost with like blinders on. And I wasn't really like living my life. I wasn't really present in my life. And so as I continued on, it's just been this like awakening to all of this that's available to me and who I really am. And I just feel like it's like I've taken off the foggy glasses and I can like see clearly now. And it's just been like the best experience, obviously, because I want to share pretty much all of it on social media and podcasts and everything.
Yeah. And it's so amazing to do that because just like you said, you wanted to talk about it. You wanted to hear other women's stories. And now you're doing that too. That's what we're doing because yes, I got sober in 2020, but I'd been exploring it since 2013. Yeah. Nobody was talking about it back then. There were no podcasts. It was very silent. Yeah. And very scary too.
I know.
Yeah. And I love that you say now you feel like you're present and you're alive because that's what we are about, feeling lit, sober.
Totally.
Your life is so much more lit, right?
Oh my gosh. It's like what I was trying to do, I think, with the alcohol was get to the point of feeling free, right? I have all of these negative thoughts and just to-do lists and achievements and go. And I couldn't turn it off. I didn't have the tools to turn it off and just relax. But what worked was alcohol. Yes. And so I just kept going back to that. And yes, it was painful, the hangovers and everything, but I didn't know any other way. So I have like total compassion for myself, to be honest, through all of that. Like, yeah, I have like some regrets on stuff I did. Who doesn't? But I don't like beat myself up over it because I'm like, oh, you just didn't have the tools. Like, okay, so you were doing the best you could with what you had. Now you have all these other tools. Great. So you don't need to go back to that. And like, that's really what I want to like share on my channel and stuff is just like, these are all the other things that I'm doing. And you don't just sit in misery and miss alcohol. You have all of this other stuff that really helps you get to that lit or free or whatever you want to think about it without having to go through those like real tough times alongside it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and one of those tools, which was really interesting that I heard because I saw your interview on Nightline, was using THC drinks. And that sparked a lot of controversy. So tell me about when you discovered THC drinks and how you use them in your sober journey.
Yes. So I was terrified of anything like drug related. I always say the DARE program definitely worked on Abby. Like I was like, no, thanks, not for it. I tried it a couple times in college and it was terrible. Right. So I get it. I understand the perception that's out there. I get all of that. So how it really came about was once I removed the alcohol, there's this feeling of like when you go to a party or you're in a certain situation where you're like, I feel like deprived or I feel like I'm not able to enjoy what other people are enjoying or get to that level of relaxation in the same way that they are. And so I came across like THC drinks and I'm like, I've never even heard of this, but I was like, you know what? I'm in this exploration phase. Like no one is telling me this is what you have to do. Like this is literally my exploration of my life. So I'm going to try this out. And so I tried a THC seltzer and the feeling it gave me was just relaxed. I didn't feel out of my mind. I didn't feel drunk. I didn't feel like I wanted 10 more. I didn't feel any of the things that I felt with alcohol. Like it was in a completely separate category. That's a data point, right? We always talk about these little like data points and it's like, all right, interesting. Like that made me feel actually more present because I was able to kind of a lot of that stuff I was talking about, like the swirling thoughts or the negativity or it just softened. And I think on Nightline, they put in a clip where I was like, it's more like a sound bath or like, you know, when you go to like a really good yoga class and you're just like, whoa, like I just feel super zenned out kind of thing. That's the feeling that I get from a low dose of THC. And so that's kind of what started this. And I was like, oh, okay. So like this could be something to incorporate into my toolkit. And the main thing too is I just wanted to stay away from alcohol. Like alcohol was the issue for me. It was something that took up too much headspace. I wasn't able to kind of keep it where I wanted it to. Like I never went out on a particular night with the intention of like blacking out. Like that's a nightmare, right?
Right.
But how alcohol and I connected, the more alcohol I drank, the less that little thing in my head was like, no, this is going to make you feel bad. It didn't operate that way in there. As where THC, completely different. I'll have a little bit. There's no like more, what's the next one? You want more. Da, 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 da. It doesn't have that compulsive feeling like I had with alcohol.
That's really good information. And I'm sure everybody's body is different. And I love that you were super intentional and very careful around it. How long in your 100 days or what point in your sobriety did you start trying the THC drinks?
Not even in those 100 days, I don't think.
Okay, yeah.
I got pretty far along. I mean, early on, those 100 days, and anybody listening, and I'm sure you both understand too, that I was in like truly recovery. Like it was emotional. I slept a lot. I was just trying to be like very gentle with myself. So I wasn't looking to really put anything, like, I don't even think I was exploring mocktails that much then or anything. I was just really trying to get myself to like a good base level. So that was almost more like a cleanse or something like that out of everything. It was more so when I was feeling good and feeling like, okay, I'm coming into this with intention. A big thing for me is I didn't want to just hop from one vice to another or replace the alcohol situation with another thing. Like, that was a big concern of mine. And so I went into this very intentionally with like, okay, I really want to see how I feel. I'm not doing this in a place that's like overstimulating or I'm around a lot of people or anything. It was just like, okay, I'm just going to like see how this feels, take note of it. If it feels awful, you never have to do it again, and just kind of being very aware of how it's impacting you. And very important that I wasn't going to then turn that into a crutch.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I hear that a lot from like clients, that they don't want to go from one addiction to another so I really get it. I love how intentional you were and how you described what it's like in your brain. That was very helpful, I think, for our listeners as well. Yeah, I can kind of get that feeling from ashwagandha, that kind of like, like you described like that, like sound bath, kind of like all of a sudden the brain goes, yeah, I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need that. Like, I seriously would say I need a sound bath. I'm not kidding. I know it sounds insane, but I'm like, oh no, I need that. I took my husband. He loved it. He was like, what is this? I was like, I'm telling you, like, and I love it until you experience it. Like, I'm not going to go every day. I'm not going to take THC every day. Like, it's just like figuring out your rhythm and how it's going to fit into your life. And if it's working and it's doing what you need it to, like, why not? And I think why I feel even more passionately about it is I see a lot of people really, really struggling in sobriety, like big time. They're miserable. And it's just like, there are so many other options out there. Totally fine if THC isn't, but you just mentioned ashwagandha. We're talking about sound baths. We're talking about yoga. There are other supplements. There could be something, go to your doctor. There could be something chemically that you should not feel miserable in sobriety. There are other things that you could be doing to help yourself. It's not this deprivation. It shouldn't feel like that. It shouldn't feel like I'll just go back to drinking. There's more that you could be doing there to explore how to make this like a lasting lifestyle for you.
Yeah, that's great. Using it as a tool, because alcohol is an addictive substance. So is THC. So it's important to be careful with it. But also, you're already addicted to the alcohol. Like, there are clearly neural pathways in your brain. And when you reintroduce the substance, those neural pathways are going to light up. So if you're using it as a different tool, that's not going to necessarily light up those same neural pathways. But I think it is important to be careful with it. Like, have you gotten any criticism about, how you define sobriety and people saying, oh, you're not really sober if you're taking THC or
not to
blah,
my
blah,
face.
Blah. Not well, that's good.
No social media troll.
I honestly, like, I don't even look at a lot of stuff. Like, the whole thing is like, I want to get away from labels in general. Like, that's a big thing that I was feeling. Like, even when I was drinking, it's like, I don't want to be the party girl for the rest of my life. Like, I don't want to be labeled an alcoholic. It's like, I feel like I shed these skins and I like become a new person. Like, kind of like it's happened a few times now. Right. And so it's like, I don't want to be defined by any label. I get that, like, to even find my podcast or even like, well, who are you? You do need something to describe. And so, yeah, to me, and I define sobriety as not having alcohol in my life. And the alcohol is really what was the issue. It was keeping me stuck. It was making me miserable. Ultimately, I was in this like shame spiral. There was so much shame around it. It was enormous. It was overwhelming by the end. And so for sobriety for me is like removing the alcohol and feeling free. I don't want to feel tethered to something like that. And THC does not make me feel tethered to it. I have no headspace for it. It's not taking up headspace. There's zero shame. It doesn't fit into that category whatsoever for me. So for me, that's part of my path. I think having it as part of my sobriety journey has actually kept me going, and it let me go farther than I would have without it, because there were just so many points where it's like, I can't stop this head stuff going on, or I just feel so uncomfortable or not relaxed, whatever the opposite of relaxed is. And so it just helped ever so slightly just be like, just keep going. Just here we go. And I'm still present, if not more present, because I'm not all up in my head. And it just fit my journey. And I again get if it doesn't fit everybody's, and I get people have had really bad experience in the past. It can go down a really bad path. I get all of that. It's worked for me. And I'm open to if it doesn't work in the future, right? It's like, this isn't something that I'm necessarily like, I'm going to do this until the day I die. It's just, this has really helped me on this portion of my journey. Potentially it'll help me in the future. If it can help somebody, I am happy to talk about it. I don't need to keep this behind closed doors. I'm not worried about how other people define my own sobriety journey, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's really great. That's great. I can see that. Because most of the time when I have clients that have either a data point or a sip up or whatever you want to say, it's because they're like, I just needed to shut my brain off. Yeah. It's not because they were like, oh, I really wanted to go out and party. It's because they were in a desperate moment. So do you feel like you had some of those desperate moments, and instead of choosing alcohol, you're like, I have this other tool that I can turn to?
Yeah. Like if I'm feeling very overstimulated in a situation, or I just can't get out of my own head. It's probably exactly kind of what they're saying. It just gives you that ability to relax. Or certain situations where it's just like, I just want something that's going to allow me to like get deeper into this feeling. Like if I'm out just enjoying, like sitting on the porch or something like that, and my husband has a cocktail or something, it's like, I just want to be able to sit here. And actually, he switched over to THC. He still drinks, but at home, he would much prefer like a THC seltzer than alcohol at home, which shocked me. I mean, wow. I didn't ask him to do that or anything like that. It doesn't have this, it's very different. It's not going to give you a hangover. It doesn't make you want the next one. For us, it just allows you to relax a little bit and enjoy the moment. So yeah, I think it just takes the edge off a little bit and has allowed me to, I think, get as far as I have within this journey.
Do you feel like it's kept you from trying other tools, like other nervous system regulation tools, breathing? Well, you did mention that you've explored yoga and sound baths and, and I get it. Not all the time can you drop to the mat and do some yoga in the moment. So
yeah, no, I think it's enhanced it. I mean, okay. So every morning I do my morning pages, which is out of The Artist's Way. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
But Cameron.
Do my morning pages. Yes. Oh, I know. She's like the best. And I do that. And then I meditate. So I'll do a guided meditation, or I'll just take some time to meditate, but I do that every single morning and just center myself. And so I just feel like it fits into this overall, I'm not looking to like spiral up. Like I was telling somebody this weekend, I used to live in extremes. Like it was just like, I wanted to be at the best party and I wanted to be the most fun and I wanted everybody to think I was the best dancer, which I am. But it just like everything was extreme, extreme, extreme. And this whole journey has just gotten me down to like, if the pendulum's swinging like this, it's just gotten me down to here. Mm-hmm. And I'm just learning to enjoy the in between and just like hanging out here. And it's like, in order to do that, I have to have these tools that allow me to like get all of this out and just drop down into myself and enjoy the present moment. So all the things we're talking about feel very similar to me, like the meditation, the writing the pages, the sound bath, the yoga, the THC. Those all feel to me very, very similar in how I use them.
That's a good point. Do you have any guardrails that you've put up to like, oh, this would be a red flag if this, then I would definitely, want to remove the THC drinks or be careful? What would those be? Did you?
The headspace. So how, like, I still remember what it felt like just constantly thinking about alcohol. Like, how much I had, how much I'm going to have later. Should I drink tonight? What do I have tomorrow? Can I be hungover tomorrow? How much water did I eat? I mean, it just was like, took up so much headspace. So I'm very aware of how much am I thinking about this? How much am I planning? How much, if I'm going on a trip, do I have to have it with me? Am I having it every single night? Am I thinking about it? Am I okay with it in the fridge? Am I like, where am I at? And it is like, I forget about it. Like someone will be like, do you have any of those? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I do. Where are they? Like, they're not chilled. Is that okay? Like, it's just not the same as where alcohol, I knew how many bottles I had, how many were chilled, how many were in the basement. Like, it's very, very different. But I keep that in mind to be like, okay, I'll see if this starts to creep up over time and becomes something that's a little too big in my life. If it becomes too big and it's taking up too much headspace, it can't make the cut anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think about it.
Yeah, that was such a good question, Susan, because I was thinking in my mind, I used to use alcohol to help me fall asleep, or at least that's what I wanted it to do. And when I went alcohol free, I think about a year in, I said, well, let me try melatonin. Everybody says it's great. But I noticed within a week of melatonin, I was having the same thought. I need this to fall asleep. I need to take it. And I started to so I know now that melatonin is super addictive. And then I got scared. Should I not drink it or have my melatonin tonight? And there was the exact same sort of thought pattern that made me feel like it was an addiction. So those are that's my kind of guardrail. So if I started to take maybe this THC, which I haven't tried yet, I would be like, what's going on in your head? Is it taking up a lot of space? Are you thinking about it? Do you need it to get through a night or go to sleep? Yeah. Really good point.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Never using it to numb, you know what I mean? It's just, again, I think you need all the other things too, right? Like I would never be like, okay, you're going to be sober and you're just going to use THC. It's like nightmare. Don't do that. Red flag. That's a replacement, right? But I think if you have a well-stocked toolkit and that happens to be one of the tools in there and you know where it is and you are clear on how you're going to use it and you're aware of what could happen and that it could change and that you need to be intentional about it, I think that it's actually been a critical part of my success with, keeping alcohol out of my life.
Yeah, that's great. Well, so there's so many alcohol-free drinks on the market with adaptogens, like Ruby mentioned ashwagandha, there's lion's mane, there's L-theanine, there's different other mushroom, reishi that promote relaxation. But I think that the cannabis-infused drinks are still controversial. Do you see the future of the mocktail culture, including these THC drinks?
100%. Yeah. And I can already see it in certain places. My husband's in sports media. So we went to a big college football game this past weekend at Clemson. And so we're going to these bars. So even at the college bars, they have THC. They have a whole section that was THC seltzers. Yep. Ooh. And then I think we had to fly in and out of Georgia, Atlanta. And we stopped there and same thing. So I think that's only going to continue to grow. And you'll see THC and cannabis drinks right next to everything else. And then it'll be a personal preference on how you use them, how you like them, if you whatever. But I do think that it'll just be kind of similar to everything else that you're seeing in that same line that you just mentioned.
That's so interesting that you could find them at bars and even the airport, because I wanted to try one before we had this podcast. And so I couldn't find any, and I didn't have enough time to order them online. Well, actually I could have ordered them online, but the shipping was more expensive than the dang drink. I'd only wanted to order like
really?
one or two. So I ended up going to our local dispensary, which we were talking about in the beginning, like little old me down at the dispensary. My husband was like, what? You went to the dispensary? And I'm like, yeah, they gave me a free koozie. And it's just such a weird experience for me. And I was super scared to even try it. Like, how is this going to make me feel? And I only had half. And then I'm like, I don't really feel anything. Okay, I'll sip a little bit more. I was super careful. And in the end, I didn't end up really feeling anything. So, okay. But I couldn't, they're not locally available, at least in Total Wine or anything like that,
It'll start to be. I'm in Philly, but right across the state line in Jersey, it's totally legal. So it's just at liquor stores, beer stores, whatever. You just walk in, there's a whole THC section. It's just very normal.
I'm in
so that
California.
I think they're kind of showing the way.
Yeah, I'm in California and I see it all over. And I guess I didn't try it. I haven't been interested to try it because, I smoked pot back in high school, college, but it always, I got like paranoid and I didn't really like the way I felt. So I don't know. I kind of thought that's not my thing, right? For all these years. But yes, I'm willing. I'm excited now to see if it gives me that sound bath feeling,
That was me to a T. Yeah. I hated it. I felt paranoid and whatever. And I'm like, why would anybody do this? Well, it was because you were doing way too much. And so it's like, oh, okay. Because I wasn't measuring dosages. I was like just smoking whatever somebody gave me, you know what I mean? Which is kind of terrifying.
Right.
But,
what?
Yeah. What? And it's like, no, I know your dose, you're probably taking like 50 times what you're supposed to. Like you'd get paranoid if you took 50 times the caffeine you were supposed to too.
Yeah.
So it's just educating yourself on like, oh, okay. Like I'm not going to drink like 10 of these because that will feel awful. And you would think that it was logical enough. It's like, well, why didn't you just do that with alcohol then? And it's like, because I didn't have that lever. Like for some reason, the closed lever for alcohol for me was broken. Yeah. So I'm not going to drink alcohol anymore. But for now, this is really working for me. And it's helped, again, like as being part of the toolkit. And so I'm not going to like gatekeep it or be afraid to say anything about it. I'm like perfectly fine to like take any criticism or anything like that on, how I define it, if it's going to like potentially help somebody get away from alcohol.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that.
We say like alcohol's the big
this is the
domino. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the big domino. So anything but alcohol, is what I say with my clients. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know.
Usually it's more like gummy bears, chocolate,
Now you have to watch too.
I know.
I talk to people about that too, and they're like, I can't even keep whatever snack it is, whether it's sugar. And I don't have that. But some people are like, oh, I cannot have any candy in my house. And I'm like, what? But then, it's like everybody's different and just how your brain works and how different things have come about. Like, so it's awareness. And it's just like, there is no one, I am not telling anybody how to do sobriety. I'm not saying to do this or drink this or whatever. It's just, you have to be aware of yourself and understand what's going to work for you and be kind of the best path. And you might take a couple turns and try a couple things, and that worked, that didn't, and whatever. But I think the more that we talk about it and just are open about it and can share all of that, it just helps tremendously rather than trying, shaming or being scared to say anything or do anything. It's like, no, let's just like kind of be adults about this, for lack of a better word, and just like, give things a shot and be open and figure out how to get yourself on a better path, because it doesn't have to be all extremes and it doesn't have to be this deprivation. You feel like you're being punished all the time. You can find a really great middle ground for yourself and hopefully find a lot of peace there.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's a great place to end our interview. But we always end any episode with asking our guests about what do you do in your life to feel lit alcohol free?
Yes. Well, a lot. But the first thing that comes to mind is dancing. So I grew up dancing. I love dance, like ballet, tap, jazz, you name it. Love being on a stage, love performing. And I really got away from that. I got in this mindset that like that was what kids do. And so the only time I danced was when I was drinking. And so through this whole process, I'm like, well, F that. Like I'm going to dance all the time. So I like literally have like an open area in my office here. I dance all the time. You see it sometimes on social media, probably. So I love that. And then I went and started taking dance classes. And so I take like tap and hip hop and all kinds of stuff like that. And I take dance classes at the gym and I just love it. And it just makes me feel lit up inside. Like I just chills. I'm so happy. And then it has a ripple effect on everything else I'm doing that day. So I'll stick with dance.
That's amazing. I love that. And I love how you reclaimed that was something you only did when you drank. And now you've reclaimed it in your sober lit life. That is awesome. And I did see that post with your tap shoes. I took tap lessons because I was a theater major. I needed to tap in a show. Oh. And I was terrible, but I was the one over here like, look at my hands and my face. Do not look at my feet because God knows what they're doing, So, but it was fun. Tap is fun. I love dancing too. I'm just not especially good at it. I'm sort of like stiff white lady dancing. So, but you know what? You don't have to be drunk to dance. I'm probably a better dancer not drinking than I was when I was drinking because I would still be self-conscious. And now I just feel better about you lose that shame and you just feel better about yourself and you just do everything better, right?
Oh, it's so great. It's just like the most freeing thing. And I feel like my inner child is just so happy. It's just like, oh, thank God, lady. Like I've been waiting for you to start dancing again. Like this has been way too long. So.
Oh, that's so great.
I love dance.
So great. Well, this was such a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I love going back to our childhood too and things we did before we drank, that's how I help clients. Like, what do you really love? Because when we've outsourced so much of our life to alcohol for so long, we get away from all that. And some people are like, oh yeah, I used to like to write, or I used to like to sing, or I used to like to draw. And then they get back into it and they're like, and then sometimes it opens up a whole nother avenue of their life that was just this creativity that was there.
No.
Laying
That's
dormant.
what's so awesome. I mean, that's the artist's way. That's
right.
It's amazing. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this was still in here. Or like just giving yourself the permission. It's like, who cares about being cringe? Like, be cringe. That's probably the ticket to freedom right there. Like, just enough with this. You know what I mean? So
I love this.
Be awkward, brave, and kind. Yes. Yeah, that's so great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story because it's got a little bit of an unusual twist. Yes, a lot of our drinking stories are so similar, but every person is unique and unique in what helps them stay alcohol free. So I really appreciate you sharing and being willing to, recover out loud, as we say, and I love the Soberverse, the social media where we are telling our stories so that other women don't have to feel alone and trapped in, using alcohol to cope and knowing that it's a little too much and it's not sustainable, but you can join us over here in our sober lit life, right? Because it is worth it. So.
It was so nice to meet you, Abby, and you're so inspiring. And I'm excited to follow you on Instagram and see what you're up to and watch you dance.
Yes, I know. Now I have to put up more dance videos. Like, where are these dance videos? I'm like, we're doing more.
Well, that's supposed to be really good for Instagram. So I always said I wasn't going to dance on Instagram. I think I have a couple times. I'm like, here I am shaking my booty.
I know. It's
crazy.
The best.
It's crazy. Very cringe for me anyway. So. All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much for listening. And we will be back next week with another amazing episode. Thanks so much for listening to the Sober and Lit podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, we would love it if you would subscribe, rate, and review. It really helps get the word out.
And remember, do something today to help you feel lit.
See you next week.